Hey everyone, and welcome to Top Think. Today, we're going to learn about 16 tips to be more productive today. Now, let's begin. Number 1, the productivity countdown. Imagine you walk up to your desk and you find a stack of 50 documents waiting for you to read. Or maybe you open your email and find dozens of messages, each one more urgent than the last. When you're staring down a mountain of work, what's the best way for you to boost your productivity? Try using a productivity countdown. Just start with your max workload. Let's say, for example, you're plugging away at those 50 documents. Every time you read one, you count yourself down by 1. That way, each little bit of progress pushes you one step closer towards 0. And the closer you get, the more motivated and productive you'll feel. Number 2, aiming for the middle. Lazy people aren't the only ones who struggle with productivity. You have an amazing work ethic, yet you still have a hard time getting anything done. Why is that? Well, because you're spending way too long on each individual project. You're trying to make everything you do turn out perfect, but that's not only impossible, it's also a gigantic waste of time. So, how much effort should you put into your work? How do you know when enough's enough? To gauge your stopping point, think about the minimum amount of work you could do to finish that project. Now, think about the absolute maximum. Your goal should be to shoot somewhere in the middle. That way, you're going above and beyond without wasting too much of your energy on one job. Number 3, the pre-lunch burst. For most people, lunch is their favorite part of the workday. It's your chance to take a break, decompress, and get a nice little boost of energy. But few people realize how big of a motivator lunch can be. Think about that hour right before your lunch starts. You might spend a good chunk of that hour staring at the clock, counting down the minutes until your break. But instead of letting the clock decide when you eat, why not base your lunch around your work? Just tell yourself that you can go to lunch only after you've reached a certain goal. And when this kind of reward is on the line, your workflow will jump into overdrive. You'll work faster and maximize your efficiency. And by the time that hour's up, you'll feel proud, productive, and ready for your break. Number 4, find your peak hours. Everyone has a certain window during the day when they're the most productive. For some, that's first thing in the morning. You wake up feeling energetic and ready to jump into your work. For others, productivity feels more natural in the afternoon. Or maybe you like the burst of creativity that comes from working at night. Whether you're an early bird or a night owl, you should reserve your hardest goals for your most productive hours. In other words, don't waste your energy or creativity on busy work. Save the boring stuff for those moments when you're feeling lazy. And that way, you can tackle the real challenges when you're performing at your best. Number 5, plan your time slots. Are you the kind of person that constantly checks their email? Or maybe you can't spend 5 minutes apart from your phone? If you are, there's a good chance that your habits are stopping your productivity in its tracks. Luckily, there's an easy solution. Instead of obsessing about your emails and messages, just create a few time slots throughout the day where that's all you do. Yeah, set aside all your other work and focus solely on responding to emails, answering messages, and returning phone calls. As you get in the habit of using time slots, you'll find yourself less and less worried about checking your phone because you know you'll see it when your next time slot rolls around. Number 6. Live an 80-20 lifestyle. Have you ever noticed that a small percentage of your work yields the majority of your profits? In business, this is called the 80-20 rule. You can almost always expect 80% of the effects to come from 20% of the causes. Okay, let's say, for example, you're trying to fix errors in a computer program. It's not worth your time to tackle every single bug that people encounter. That would take way too long. So instead, you aim for the top 20% because that will get rid of 80% of the problems. Now, if you want to increase your productivity, try to incorporate the 80-20 rule into your lifestyle. Spend your time and energy on a few very productive tasks, rather than wasting hours on something that won't earn you much of a reward. Number 7. Learn to delegate. You just can't do everything by yourself. If your boss throws a big project your way, you can't do the research, design the prototype, and make the presentation all on your own. Not only would it take you way longer, but you'll end up feeling overwhelmed and burn out. To accelerate your productivity, learn how to delegate. There's nothing wrong with admitting you have too much on your plate. It's almost always a good idea to recruit a coworker or even a small team to help you out. That way, you can spread the workload, get things done much faster, and even incorporate some new perspectives along the way. Number 8. Manage your team. Delegation is an incredibly useful strategy, but delegating work doesn't automatically make you more productive. There are plenty of managers who delegate well and then end up wasting even more of their time. That's because they spend hours hovering over their team members. They check in on their progress every 5 seconds and they nitpick every move they make. Delegating is supposed to save time, but when you hover, you're just sabotaging your own productivity. So, how should you manage your team in an effective and productive way? Well, try using some kind of online collaboration tools. These programs allow you to quickly take stock of everyone's progress without soaking up more of your valuable time. Number 9. Morning self-care. Do you cram as much work as you can into your mornings? If you do, it might be hurting your productivity. When you start your grind right after you wake up, you're more likely to feel lazy and burnt out in the middle of the day. So try to find a morning routine that balances productivity and self-care. Remember that you want to end your morning feeling motivated, not frustrated or exhausted. Number 10. Create accountability. Most people work better when they know someone's counting on them. This is a big problem for freelancers and people who own their own businesses. They struggle with productivity because, well, no one's holding them to deadlines or strict schedules. So if this sounds like you, it's time to create some kind of accountability. Find someone who's going to rely on you, like a client or even a close friend. When someone expects you to perform at your best, you'll find yourself being more productive than ever. Number 11. Shortcuts aren't productive. Cutting corners isn't the same as being productive. While it's true that finding innovative solutions can save you time, you should never let the quality of your work suffer, because then you're just being lazy. Shortcuts should never be an excuse to do less work. The goal of any shortcut should be to streamline your process or improve your efficiency, not to help you get out of work early. Number 12. Under 60s. Your day is filled with small decisions. You pick out your clothes in the morning, and you decide what to eat for breakfast. These trivial decisions have very little impact on your day, yet you might waste tons of time making up your mind. So whenever you're facing a small decision, just give yourself 1 minute. 1 minute. That sense of urgency will make you choose faster and feel more satisfied with your decision. So cut yourself off at 60 seconds, no more, because that's all the time you really need. Number 13. Prune your commitments. Sometimes your own generosity stands in your way. You want to help everyone, and you want to say yes to everything, but you end up with so much on your plate that you run out of time to focus on yourself. To give your productivity a boost, try to shave off at least 1 commitment every week. If you did 10 favors this week, well, then do 9 the next, and then 8, and then 7. That way, you can prioritize your own responsibilities before handling someone else's. Number 14. The sole decision maker. You shouldn't be making every single decision on your own. It's frustrating to hand the reins off to someone else, but it's stressful and unproductive to be the only decision maker. But luckily, you can relieve some of that pressure by relying on your coworkers. You'll get a lot more work done if you can learn to trust in their judgment. Number 15. Cherish your downtime. Downtime is an important part of being productive. Even though you're not getting work done, spending time with your family keeps you mentally stable. It gives you an opportunity to recharge and to gear up for another productive day. No one can be proactive and efficient all the time, so don't take your downtime for granted. Number 16. End on a high note. When's the best time to stop working? Most people try to drain their brain before they leave for the day, but the most productive people end their day on a high note. You should stop working when you're feeling inspired and full of ideas. Why? Well, because it gives you direction for tomorrow. From the moment you come into work, you'll know exactly what to do next. Instead of feeling hesitant or confused, you can jump right back into the action. Hey, thank you for watching Top Think, and be sure to subscribe because more incredible content is on the way.